afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys are comfortable enough in your seats wherever you currently are. And this is the Customer Experience panel. By way of introduction, I am Galuh Alifani, and I will be your moderator for today. In this session, as mentioned by Bhavana earlier, we'll be having a quite interesting discussion about how AI will shift customer experience to the next level. And we'll be discussing deeply about how the application of AI, data analytics, machine learning, robotic process automation, and all its derivatives has given an enormous implication to customer experience or customer service. So before we begin the session, I think Bhavana has introduced our panelists for today, but I just like to quickly welcome them again to the session. We have Rudy here, VP of Customer Excellence in Tokopedia. Hi, Rudy. We have Chut Nozi.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. We have Chut Nozi, Country Head of Customer Experience at Grab, Indonesia.
Hello.
Hi, Chut.
Hi.
And we have Sri Safitri, Project Director of CX Transformation and Telekomunikasi Indonesia. Hi, Bu Sri. And we have also Philip Joseph, the SVP of Customer Experience at Orido Indonesia. Hi, Philip.
Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Okay. So as seen, all of our panelists today represents very well-known companies in Indonesia, and I think these companies don't need to be further introduced. So let's start. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions at any point during this panel session, please do leave your question in the Q&A session at the question mark box where you can find in your screen right now, and we will pick it up during the Q&A session at the end of the moderated panel session. So thank you for all the incredible speakers for your presence today. To start off, I think I'd like to round it off with the panelists here. We all know that this popular artificial intelligence or AI term has been widely adopted by many organizations across the globe, right? And now we're specifically talking about how it influences the customer experience part of the business. So in a more practical term, to know, from the panelists, how does AI and data analytics currently transform the customer experience part of a business? And why is this such a transformative journey? And do you think this is, something that will completely change, the way of working of any modern organization in the future? Hi, maybe you can start with Philip.
Yeah, okay, cool. Thank you very much, Galuh, for the introduction. From my side, if you look at it, AI has been on a momentous trend, and especially in 2020, what we have looked at is that this year, if you look at what has happened, new normal, there has been an increased focus on the application of AI. If you ask me, how do we want to propel CX forward? AI has been the topic that has been the buzzword for today, yeah. And for me, coming from the telecom sector personally, I feel that this has been an awakening recently. Yeah? We are known in the telecom sector to be very laggard in our approach, very comfortable, and we basically are known to be the providers for others to become modern and agile. But when you ask about the telecom industry itself, we're known to be very different in our approach. I strongly feel that the new normal is going to be an experience economy for me. When I say that, why do I say that? It's because I'm no longer competing against my competitors in the industry when I deliver experience. Today, I'm going to be competing with my customers as well, when my customers are going to be looking at me on how I deliver that experience. And that whole package can only come with data analytics and AI. Yeah? That's the only way to propel forward, because the sentiments, the buzz that the customer is talking about, the importance of the matrix that we want to track, the whole load of insights and the data can only come forward with AI and actually data analytics that was going to propel CX forward.
Maybe we can ahead with these three. How do you think AI and data analytics currently transform customer experience in telecom Indonesia?
Thanks, Galuh. I think if we look at AI in customer experience, we look at like a tip of the iceberg. The tip of the iceberg has like something like web and mobile, promotion, pre-purchase, campaign, and surveys. But underneath, we have customer service, technical support, product usage, online help, account management, voice of customer, billing, and payment. So the role of AI in customer experience, we can see, is something that is underneath, which is how we can look at the impactful insights that is actually hidden below the surface. So we look at artificial intelligence, or AI, is providing the capacity to mine this data that is underneath the surface, so that by understanding the things below the surface, we can deliver superior customer experience. So with that, in terms of Telkom Indonesia, what we do is how we can mine the data from voice of the customer, billing and payment, online help, or also from our customer service. So that's how we leverage AI in order to improve our customer experience by mining the data that is mostly underneath the surface.
Great, very interesting. Very interesting, Busri. Thank you very much. And I'd like to ask Keen as well to learn from Ms. Chut from Grab. Maybe you can explain a little bit about how AI and data analytics is being used in your organization right now.
Yeah, sure, Galuh, thank you. Yeah, so basically in Grab, right, AI and data analytics definitely become our backbone to achieve our vision and mission. Because our vision is to drive South Asia forward, and one of our mission is actually to enable access to safer, high quality, everyday services, right? Basically to help customers to make their life easier. Because in Grab, we have 4 types of customers. We have passengers and eaters currently. We also have partners, which is our drivers. We have also merchant and kiosk or warung agent that currently we also have, right? So we implement AI actually in almost every journey of the customer experience. Maybe I give you the example, right? In transport, 2 wheels or 4 wheels, Grab bike or Grab car. We give our customers, our passengers, ETA, so estimation time arrival. And also we provide like the preferred route to destination. We provide the upfront charge, the DEX rating as well to improve the service from our partners to our passengers. And from the food verticals that we provide as well, we provide ATA definitely for food to be delivered. And then we provide what best customers and what best restaurant and best food preference and etc. in the food. So definitely all of those is being supported by the AI and data analytics. So definitely AI and data analytics is play significant roles in Grab as an overall.
Great, thanks a lot, Chut.
Yeah.
What about in the e-commerce sector, Rudy, for Tokopedia?
Thanks, Galuh. I think I learned a lot from my days in telco also, by the way, and with all the experts here. And the industry has been through a lot of technological evolution as well, unlike e-commerce that really jumped directly into full digital ecosystems. So how AI and data analytics influences customer experience will be started in different stage of journey in our case. But we're dealing with the same massive numbers of retail customers, right? So in our case, we have more than 90 million MAU, 300 million product selections for the customers, with more than 8 million merchants. So the only way to really operate at scale is the use of AI and data analytics as well for the entire journey of the customers, not just this customer service journey. So for the past 3 years, I've been seeing and I've been witnessing the evolutions on that aspects as well to really improve the customer experience. Those are in 3 aspects. Number one is it improved the way you deliver a personalizations. In our case, I mean, Tokopedia, you can only see using in the desktop, yeah, like 13-inch of your laptops, right? Or in device, perhaps 6-inch. So to push the whole product that really fits your need is something that the AI has played a big role in there. So this is an era where we really no need to search a product, right, to make our life easier. So it's easy now to find recommendation based on your past histories as well, past transactions as well, your search, your transactions, or even your past complaints. So that will be shown at the homepage as well. It's something that I relevant to you as well. That will increase the conversion rate. And it continued across the purchase funnel. Same with like when you see Netflix, right? And thanks, by the way, Busri, to open the blocking from Telkom. It really shows something that really match your preference, right? So I have an issues as well when my wife also opening the Netflix account in using my accounts, while actually she have another account, and she opened like a Korean drama, right? So eventually, suddenly, I see the whole Korean recommendation in my Netflix, display. So that really something that really influence a lot on from you as a customers. Number two is really empower self-service. Nowadays, I think especially for us who don't have the call channels, speed and accuracy is becoming a hygiene factors, right? So we're facing like a increasing numbers of interaction month by month. Even we have like a 40% increase in terms of interactions compared to January. And the only scalable way is the use of AI and self-care as well. So it's very cost inefficient if you're using the support agent to handle that, right? And number three is help us to deliver a happier customer service, so they can focus on the more complex problems as well. Even the bot or automation can handle that specific case. At least it carries already 30% of data from that customers, so it's easier. So no need to ask for more or many questions again. I think that's the use cases in our e-commerce.
Thank
Back
you,
to you,
Rudy.
Galuh.
Very overwhelmingly interesting examples from all the different organizations from, ride hailing, e-commerce, and also telco industry, right? I think I'd like to get deeper into a subset of an AI application, maybe Ms. Sri. Some of the other subset of AI that we've seen being applied quite rapidly today is machine learning. And then there's this other similar sister technology, namely the robotic process automation, or RPA, right? If you can kind of explain a little bit, what are the key difference between these, and what are the examples of of the application of these technologies in customer experience today, and maybe specifically in telecom?
Thanks, Galuh. I think the way we implement AI and also machine learning is that in terms of improving customer experience, there are many examples. One of the examples that can be shared is about how we use robotics process automation for our contact center. So that with this, usually when a customer complains to our contact center, it takes them roughly 3 minutes on average to proceed, and also to understand where the problem is, whether the problem is within the customer, whether they haven't paid the billing, or whether it's in the network, and so and so, because they need to open up several applications on their desktop. But then by using the RPA, the robot will do that task for them, and then we are able to minimize that process from 3 minutes into 20 seconds. So with that, it will improve the engagement with the customer. Instead of spending more time on the system, then the agent will spend more time with the customer. The other area that is also in terms of, by using machine learning, we use our big data and machine learning in order to do churn prediction and also churn prevention, and also on how we provide customer rating. So that customer rating, we can provide capability and also assessing the customer in terms of their ability or their risk in using other services within telecom. So that kind of thing. And the other area that we use is for AI is also how we can use ID identification. Like we are using biometric, and also for single sign-on by using face recognition. So there are many areas that we can use the technologies that is also going to improve our customer experience.
Thank you, Ms. Sri. And I'm keen to know from Chut, from the ride-hailing industry, is there any other interesting application of machine learning or RPA to improve or enhance your customer experience at this point?
Yeah, sure. So basically, as I mentioned before, right, in Grab, in almost every customer journey that we already using the AI or the RPA itself, right? But let me give a more detailed example. So start from the registration experience, right? Whether this is using the service on transport or on food, right? We have the pack selfie and also deck selfie. So the intention is, of course, to make sure the safety and trust in our platform for both, right? For the customers and also for our driver as well. And for the booking experience phase, right? We provide the heat map. The heat map is actually the high demand points, right? So basically to give the drivers direction where for them to get more demand, basically, right? And so we provide also the closest and fastest DEX allocation in the pickup points. In food, as I mentioned previously, we provide like recommended menus and restaurant favorite, right? And now eaters also can optimize food noodles on the searching menus. From the right experience, we call it a chat feature from Grab Chat. So maybe Galuh ever use our services as well, right? So in Grab Chat, there can be the chat communication between the PAX and DEX. And basically it's also on the multi-language auto translation, right? So it's enable like a foreigner when come to Indonesia and use our services, so they don't get confused as well to have a discussion with the DEX. One more is related to safety as well. We provide the telematic. So telematic feature is actually the feature to check the speed of our DEX. So definitely that's for safety angle. For the price and payment experience, we have the net fare prediction, right? Definitely there's a AI behind. For the net fare is definitely based on the distance, supply, demand, and also we also have the auto adjust promotion. And for the RPA, definitely the use case in the support experience as well, right? We call it the feature CNPU refund. CNPU is basically, this is not something that we're proud of. CNPU means that the DEX, okay, the passenger already booked, and then the DEX say yes, but the DEX is not pick up the PAX, right, and just complete it. So when the PAX has the cashless, so definitely the wallet is already being transferred on that amount, right? So for that case, we call it the CNPU refund. So with the AI, of course, behind and the RPA on how we can like automatically refund to the passenger who get the fraud on that one. On the food as well, we leverage that functionality for the food missing and then the wrong item refund, for example, and also the chatbot, right? So currently we implement some use cases on some complaint and query using our chatbot as well. Thank you, Galuh.
Thank you, Chut. Very interesting. And it's very interesting as well that you mentioned about chatbot, because this is what I want to go. So I'd like to touch a bit more on this specific example, chatbot, right? Philip, I'd like to ask, why do you think chatbot has such a massive potential to transform the provision of customer experience to the next level? And what are some of the biggest impact that you've seen from chatbot that has delivered better customer experience? And what is actually the key challenge of implementing such a solution?
So if you ask me, the most important element of the chatbot is the understanding that we can apply on it via the learning ability in the chatbot. That has actually the biggest significance that can actually transform CX. If you ask me, how will it help you transform for the better? Number one is it can handle volume that actually you cannot handle. Yeah. For example, if you look at the new normal and you look at the volume that has telecom company, I'm speaking for myself, yeah. I think I would have needed basically nearly about 1,000 agents to handle the volume that has surged recently when the work from home kicked in Indonesia. So what was the solution? The solution was actually to provide experience to the customers. Customers needed help, but the fastest methodology to give them help and also deliver an experience so that you do not show that you've slacked in your role as a telecom operator is actually the chatbot. It can handle spikes like that. And that is actually some methodology I feel that CX and chatbot will work hand in hand to actually propel customer experience. The other thing that I spoke about is spikes, volumes that had come at unprecedented times. For example, working from home, you actually wanted better connection, stability. Customers wanted to do self-diagnosis on their connection. They wanted to ensure that the package, their quota, their usage were all correct. So what we did was we enabled the learning in the chatbot. when we enable the learning before we actually transform and transfer you to a live agent, which we usually do when you have a network related issue, because we take a pride in our network and we wanted to make sure that you have personal. But this time the volumes were so high, we actually put 2 or 3 self-help questions so the customer could do self-diagnosis via the chatbot. And then that if these 3 questions were not able to help the customer, then what we did, we transferred to the live agent. So it actually managed to help if the customer tips, a reference point, self-diagnostic, which was very, very helpful to the customer. The other thing that it really helped us, chatbot, was when before the pandemic got even worse, traveling was people wanted to get out of the country. They wanted to move. So people were actually wanted to know whether international roaming was activated on their phones. So everybody was calling us, do I have international roaming? I wanted to stay connected so we enabled that journey also on the chatbot. The chatbot was able to tell you if your roaming service was active, you are available, and then you can buy your roaming packages and actually automate. If not, you would have had a live agent talk about this. So these are the 2 biggest case scenarios that we feel chatbot had helped transform CX. And last but not least, in those old days, if you want to make a new knowledge change happen, we used to go back to training, briefing, and socialization. Today, you just do the learning on the bot, and that experience changes automatically with the click of a button. That transformation today is actually what I would say the experience economy is going to be all about here for me. Thank you, Philip.
Thank you, Philip. Keen to understand from Rudy from e-commerce, from Tokopedia. If you can explain a little bit, deeper about how chatbot is being implemented there.
Thank you, Galuh. I think Philips has perfectly explaining it as well. And I have to agree that I think chatbot has 2 sides, right? The business needs and the customer needs as well. I mean, you cannot operate at scale given the high increase in terms of interaction volume from the customers, especially now when they have no options for us in offline. So the only way they can find something is through online commerce. So the expectation is increasing book like this. And whenever that product doesn't come or never come to their house, they keep calling, they keep contacting you, they keep mailing, they keep chatting you. I mean, the expectation is increasing right now, and people get easily angry right now to your customer service as well. So the only way, you can deliver a consistency from the customer experience perspective in terms of speed and quality is by the use of automation chatbots, right? So that's for the why. And AI has changed all of that by allowing the company to use chatbots and virtual assistants, so customer can go in and out in a GV as well. So I think for us in Tokopedia, we use 3 I principle, Galuh. So number 1 is interface. Yes, you need to have a compelling and user-friendly UI and UX as well. But when it only caters a simple FAQ or a simple inquiries, it will be useless as well after 3 months. So you need the I number 2 is integrations. So having it integrated with internal API will make it more powerful your bot as well. So for example, the logistic APIs, the payment APIs, the transaction APIs. I mean, we have all the data points there. We have all the status of that transactions as well, and bot can easily integrate to that points to inform the customers where is the transaction status right now, where is the the tracking status of that deliveries right now, and we already integrated also with the for example the Grab tracking system. So whenever you ask where is my package right now, I already ordered from 2 days ago. So the bot can easily answer, say, sorry sir, I'm very sorry that we have delayed delivery of your package, because they read the SLA on the systems as well, but it can inform where is the last point of that package as well. Say, for example, your product is already arrived in Jakarta warehouse and will be delivered to the house in a maximum 2 hours from now. So that's the integration impact on that bots. It's getting smart and smarter. And the I number 3 is about intelligence. I mean, customer in Indonesia can type anything in many different languages as well. So I think both must know the intent, right? So the I number 1 and I number 2 is useless without the intelligence as well. So the seamless interface and full integration will mean nothing, right? If both fail to detect the right intent and deliver it to the right answers as well. So in our case, the deflection can reach up to 50% and increasing the number of customer satisfaction as well. But I have to be very, very careful as well, because not all the user interacting with the bot if the bot is not yet smart enough. That's the reason I think we haven't opened it to the whole customer base right now. So I think the evolution is getting more interesting. I think you see Alexa, right? You see Google Home as well, and you can just use the voice command to ask bot to do something for you. I think we are going that way, but things the basic need to be fixed right now. Thanks, Galuh.
Thank you, Rudy. Yeah, I think very interesting, explanation from all the panelists about like key examples and like applications of like machine learnings, RPAs, chatbot. But now I'd like to shift a bit the conversation more towards, the impact on the business side. So maybe I'd like to ask Chut here. So we've heard before from everyone in the panel, like how AI can make such a great impact to customer experience, right? But how does it actually impact your business bottom line? And like, I'm sure there must be quite some amount of investments to be made to enable these solutions as well. Like, how is the justification of this application to the like business bottom line?
Yeah. So definitely for that one, that's very interesting question, Galuh. So me the same with Rudy as well. So we come from the telco background. So where, as Philip mentioned, volume is become the key, right? So volume of interaction that come to the customer experience actually is quite challenging. So for this one, I will pick the support use case. Yeah. So in our case, right, our interaction in Grab is actually increased more than 500% since 2016. Why I picked 2016? Because 2016 is when I joined this company. So with that kind of volume, right, definitely costs become concern as well. So beside how we make sure that the customer experience that triggered by the support team also can be better. So basically now we implement two things, the automation, and the other thing is the chatbot. So we implement that on different use cases, right? On different complaint and inquiry. So when we did this one, right, we can get a significant saving, right? For us, it's quite significant, which is around 25% variable cost reduction, right? And the same with Rudy, we cannot be very aggressive on this one because not only one variable, which is cost, the one that we have to observe, right? We have to observe other metrics that related with the customer experience itself. For example, how the NPS things, how the CSAT and DSAT as well, right? So we have to be very careful, at least in Grab, when we implement on this one. But definitely, currently with the deflection rate around 50% when we are using the chatbot, right? And also some use cases on the automation, we have that saving 25% compared when we running 100% legacy or 100% with the assisted channel. So that's become our use case, Galuh.
Okay, great. I think Rudy wants to add something on this. Rudy, I think you're still on mute.
Okay.
Sorry.
I think Philips, you want to add something first, or I will just go after Philips.
Oh, sure. I just wanted to say, I think Pat has mentioned it quite clearly. In total investment in AI to the bottom line, you must ensure that actually what you do is when you do the investment, you can see the results. And obviously, everybody is going to pick for telecom sector. You pick the live agent. Yeah, that's going to be the biggest investment. As always, when you go to the boardroom, they ask you, what is the head count? And what is your deflection rate? Very seldom, sometimes we look at the parameters of CX, yeah? So the automation that we do in AI, the biggest bottom line change will be to the live agent volume, yeah? And for us, we have seen that with the implementation of chatbot, that's one. And the other thing that I think the automation and AI can bring to the bottom line is customer loyalty. If you have to call me or if you have to walk into a garage or a store, and then we meet you and we speak to you about a next best offer. Our chatbots today actually can provide you a next best offer. They will look at all your usage. They will look where your top up is. They look where your idle period, and then they give you something back automatically and say, this is your next best offer. Why not you be a part of us again? Continue your journey with us. We have something unique for you. And if everybody had to walk into the store or call us, then I think we would have seen a different experience. So these, for me, are the two biggest use cases we see. Obviously, a live agent, because that sizing and headcount is something that is a dilemma for all CX. Yeah, every time when we go inside, even after every presentation, the end one is, by the way, what is the headcount movement? That's always the synopsis and the close. Yeah. I think today that is actually that's where AI will bring in the biggest investment, and you have to make sure that the conversation that you invest in AI has a multi-level conversation. It doesn't just answer one. It goes 2 or 3 answers so that the customer can get the best experience, because if not, they would want to speak to a live agent. And the other one was, of course, the next best offer for loyalty. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. I think Philip or Busri, sorry, Rudy or Busri, maybe Rudy want to go first?
Yeah, thank you, Galuh. I think on the cost part and on the healthy cost structures has been perfectly explained by Philip and Chut as well. I just want to add from the revenue impact perspective. I think the AI-powered solution will deliver a better recommendation to your product, right? So whenever when you search something, or when you open the Tokopedia apps or open the online commerce platforms, it pop-ups with the best product that will match your behavior, your pattern of purchase, and your pattern of transactions as well. So it's not the first time actually for me to hear my friends keep saying that, oh, this Tokopedia is killing me. I keep buying something. So I mean, if you're going to mall, right, it has like a opening and close store. But in online platform, you can like 24 hours, whenever you cannot sleep, you just open it and suddenly you buy something there. So during these work from home situations as well, the customers becoming more impulsive as well. So I think giving a good AI powered solutions to give a good recommendations of product, of services on that platforms will give a chance of higher conversion rate to your product, rights. And talking about recommendations of hobbies and preference as well, and it can do like an cross and upsells as well to other capabilities as well. So now I think previously I think people just buy something like laptop accessories, computer accessories in Tokopedia. But now, I mean, they even buy the MacBook, buy the expensive laptop in Tokopedia as well. So after that buying as well, I mean, the AI powered solution need to be smart as well. Don't push the laptop again. Don't push the same computers again. You're not talking to the resellers, right? So just push the accessories. Just put the laptop case. So it has to be up to the smartphones level as well. So I think for the buyer side as well, I mean, it's not one or two. You chat them, kan barang ready nggak? I mean, sometimes you just buy something or just buy something from the seller who are responding to your chat, right? Is the readiness level of that product can be delivered within same day atau enggak gitu kan? It's something that you frequently ask questions as well, and you can help your sellers as well to do some automations on that and connect them with the inventory or SKU, and connect them with the availability of the inventory of that dealers as well. So that's something that can be useful as well from both sides, either this is the platform or the sellers. That's it, Galuh.
Thank you, Rudy. Ibu Sri?
Thanks, Galuh. I think both all of the panelists already mentioned the benefit of AI in terms of generating insights and better analysis, and also how AI improved influencing sales, like how they can increase sales of new products or services. And also Tokopedia has also mentioned that how AI has helped to the organization to improve engagement with the customer. But then I would like to add one more thing on the benefit of artificial intelligence in terms of boosting operations. So the data from Capgemini mentioned that 78% of organization implementing AI will increase operational efficiency by more than 10%. But this is something that is challenging for us as CX practitioners, is how to ensure that we get budget for it. Because if we request budget for AI in terms that has direct benefit of influencing sales or generating more revenue, then it will be easier for us to get the budget. But in terms of how we can get budget for boosting operations, because it's not easy to be quantified, then it's not that easy for us. But I think I would like, because I understand that it's running out of time, I think I can underline one of the most important thing on artificial intelligence in my conclusion is that you cannot spell artificial intelligence without art. So that's why artificial intelligence is nothing without human touch. So we need to also consider the human touch in this in order to improve customer experience. Because as you mentioned that Phillips, I think, mentioned about using chatbots. For us in telecom, the worst NPS came from chatbots. And that's because of our language, our Bahasa language is very complicated, not very easily understood by the chatbots, and everyone is using their own slangs and also multiple languages. So that's why it creates a bad NPS for our end. I don't know for your experience, but for our experience, it's currently challenging for us for using chatbots. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Ibu Sri. I think we're quite running out of time here, so I will pause the session in here and welcome the floor for Q&A.
Absolutely. So we've got 3 questions already from the audience. If you may allow, can I direct them to you?
For sure.
Okay, perfect. So the first question is from Ziad, and he says, how to measure that our AI has met with the customer needs, and how to handle that if it's not good from our customer experience. Okay, I mean, basically, he would mean to ask is that how do you measure that the AI is meeting the customer needs? That's the question.
How the AI is meeting customer needs. Okay. Anyone from the panel would like to take this?
Yeah, I can take that. So
sure.
Thank you. So we don't depart from using the technology. So it is not technology that defines the customer or customer needs. So what we learn is that first of all, we learn from the voice of the customer and also customer pain points. And then from the customer pain points, we identify whether the issues is in the people, process, or tools. And then if the process, if the root cause is about the process and tools, that's how we can try to use the technology. It doesn't necessarily that it must be AI, but then if it needs to use RPA, AI, or machine learning, then mostly we can use that as just a tools. So that by understanding and departing from the customer pain points, we are making sure that we are answering and meeting the customer requirements. So that's how we do it at Telkom.
Sure. I believe Philip would like to speak, had raised the hand.
Yeah, for me, I think measurements of chatbot and its effectiveness. First of all, there is a fallback rate in the chatbot here. If the fallback rate is very high, that shows that your chatbot is actually failing and it's not actually defined purpose to serve that customer. That's one. The other thing is you can measure is the number of sessions, unique users using the chatbot, are they growing? And also if the customer has come into a chat, how many gets transferred to a live agent as well, yeah? So these are simple measurements you can, obviously Sri spoke about NPS, CSAT, you can even give your chatbot a satisfaction score. You can even journey map your chatbot in terms of scores across the using part of the chatbot, the buying part of the chatbot. So you can see where does the customer rate you very well. If it's using, he rates you very well. You know that you're using mechanics of the chatbot is doing very well. You should be happy. If he's rating you very badly at the buying part, then you know that the buying part is actually a problem. But the other biggest parameter you look at is your fallback rate, and your fallback rate versus your transfer rate to a live agent. Then you know how effective your chatbot is actually. Thank you. Yeah.
Sure. I believe another panelist would like to add on. I believe, Chut, you want to add on to that? Please go ahead.
Yeah, so actually the one that Sri and Philip already mentioned is definitely one of the concern related with how we measure the AI, right? So I just add on this one. So basically, as I mentioned before, right, we have to make a balance between the the cost benefit or the revenue benefit from the AI, and also the one that we have to measure in terms of the customer experience. Sri and Philip already mentioned that it with the NPS, CSAT definitely. So that's why the deflection rate is important to be measured. That's why in our case, we definitely very careful to use the AI and the RPA, right? So as I mentioned, for Grab, AI is on the other journey of our customer. So when it comes to the support, so we pick some use case that we say that it can be automated only, not cannot go to the chatbot with the NLP part, but more to the guided mode. So we have to make a really balance on that one, because if not, then definitely the customers will be pissed off.
Sure. Galu, there are two more questions, if you may allow. Can I ask the questions from the audience?
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. So there's another question from Hendrik, and he asked that one of the parameter to measure customer experience is Net Promoter Score, which is the NPS. Do you use ML or AI to get better NPS? That's the question.
Okay, very interesting. Maybe Philip or Rudy would want to take up on this.
Sure.
Okay, Rudy.
I think so, Galu. I think as you know as well. I think we're measuring NPS not only for the service channels, right, but also for the whole business unit in Tokopedias as well. I mean, you guys tied in with the NPS was one of the important OKRs as well. So I think machine learning or AI can improve NPS. I think yes, we can have the input from the NPS feedback from the customers as well, from their verbatim as well, whenever they be a detractors, right? So they say something there, whether it is about product recommendations, whether it is about logistic experience, and we have thousands of inputs there. I think the AI and data
Director
play a key role on what kind of feedback that we need to work on first, from the revenue perspective, from the cost perspective, and from the importance level perspective. And you cannot see the whole things like picking the cherry one by one, right? So AI plays a big role to give you a better recommendation on what improvement need to be done first, so you can compare it from the business strategy that you have, and from the customer experience perspective, given from that NPS inputs as well. So in our case, we are not taking just NPS as a score, but seeing behind that scores from the verbatim point of view, from the text analytics point of view, including tie that in with the complaints rate as well, is something that really give insightful recommendation to the product team as well in Tokopedia.
Sure. Would anyone like to add on from the panel on that question, or do we go on to the next question, please?
Yeah, maybe I just can add on what Rudy already.
I think we can go on to the next question.
No, if you would like to just add a point, you could, and then I'll ask another set.
Yeah. So just add on that one, on the other angle, right? When measure NPS, not only the NPS, but also we break down on the every customer journey. So we know exactly which AI that actually can boost the customer experience, or which AI that need to be tweaked. So that's also something that we see. So on top of what Rudy already mentioned previously.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Now, panelists, we have our next question, which is from Rochit. And he asked that how do you decide which customers the chatbot should be tested on? How do you decide on that? Would anyone like to take that answer forward?
I think I can answer that.
Please.
Just to share a story a bit, I think we have a discussion when we implemented chatbot like 2 years back, on which points where this chatbot is first to be implemented. So the decision on the customer service, right? So whenever the chatbot can pass the test in the customer service, the whole use cases will be easy. So for example, the sales use cases, the product use cases, it will be easier when that bot pass the test in the customer service. So in selecting which customer to be tested for the chatbots, I think it will be based on your composition of customers as well, right? So you have an objective that this bot can open to whole customer base. So I think we clearly decided that.
Maybe the question.
Hello.
Sure. Yes, please go ahead. Please go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay, so I think for sure, number one, we don't apply the chatbot for the platinum users, but some part of the the next level of after platinum and the bigger part of the silver users is implemented. But we do like a staging rollout. Say for example, only 10% of that customers to be covered, so we can cover the whole scenario from that customer segment. I think interestingly, I mean the behavior is quite different because they both the different kind of product and do different transactions as well. So I think it's good for your bot to cater, many parts of your customer segments as well.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Would anyone like to contribute? Because we have one more question after this from the audience.
Yeah, maybe from my side, right, to add on what Rudy mentioned. In our case, we don't choose chatbot on the customer segment. So we are more using on interaction. So we pick which interaction or which complaint that is makes sense when we put the chatbot and which one is not. So more to that one. So not to pick which customer that we want to apply for chatbot. So that's maybe the other angle.
Sure. Also, Galu, there's one more question from the audience to your panel out here. It's from Suryo. And Suryo asks that how would you develop consciousness in internal customer, which is within the company, for mechanization-based industry, non-AI adaptive to shift or to start to AI implementation?
Okay, interesting. So I guess this is more about how does a company start or shift towards an AI-based environment? Maybe Busri can take on this.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's very challenging because on the other hand, the internal will of course be afraid of that the AI will replace their roles and then will reduce the number of workers, for example. But then we can explain to them that the benefit of having this is, for example, increase in customer experience, and in the end will increase also revenue, and in more revenue meaning that we will need more people to handle the same job. But because we are a state-owned enterprise, it's a lot easier, I think, because there is no way that we will have like employee reduction. But I don't think that will be the same case for the other speakers. So this kind of thing is we start by telling, in short, we start by telling the internal that the benefit is something that will impact the company's survivability in the market. And then also the benefit is also to satisfy the customer, and then the customer is something that we need to prioritize as a customer-centric company.
So I believe, would there be any other panelists who would like to contribute, or should we conclude with the final say from all of you? Galo, could you guide on that, please? So, well, I believe there's a little bit of network issue out there, but with this, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to conclude, and thank you to all the panelists for joining us once again. Thank you.